Hi there everyone, Matt Hayson here. Joining me today is Veronica Morgan, who was just dropping past and, being the property expert that she is, asked me a bit of a stumbling question, so I thought we'd tackle it on camera. So here we are. What was that question?
I'm really curious to know how the new legislation on auction quoting has changed the way that you guys are quoting auction prices.
Well, I have to say, in fairness, it really hasn't probably changed what we're doing in terms of how we're quoting. It's probably just more around the compliance about all the paperwork behind the scenes and all the information that we're actually having to provide and make sure that it's clear.
To justify it.
To justify it, for sure.
And this is what makes me laugh. It's just that the new legislation was supposedly meant to make things clearer for buyers, but clearly hasn't changed anything.
No, I don't think it has at all. And look, this is a gripe that we've had actually just with the legislation itself. It's it's pointing the finger maybe at the wrong spot. We've always argued that maybe from a buyer's perspective, it would be better if they could rely on the information provided by an actually good professional agent. Around an area like this, I don't think we're too far out of kilter with a lot of the guides, because most of the agents here are professional. We deal with a sophisticated market that actually understands pricing maybe better than other areas. But at the same time, agents need to be relied on a lot more heavily, and I think that's probably where some of the effort should be put into.
You've got alternative ways of actually quoting, haven't you? You're limited with your agency agreement. It's got to be a 10% range, but then you could just quote the bottom number.
Yes.
Or you can quote the whole range.
Yes.
Or you can quote nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
And so from a buyer's perspective, we know how to interpret that because we're in it day in, day out, and I would hope all buyers agents know how to interpret it, but most buyers wouldn't really quite know what that means.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I think even a lot of agents, because there is that variation, a lot of agents are even a little bit scared about, well, I don't want to be picked out by the OFT. Am I doing the right thing? So a lot of people aren't putting a guide on at all. And a lot of people are, a lot of agents are saying, listen, we're not going to give you a guide. We're going to wait for feedback. And there's all of this kind of smoke and mirrors. And again, the ultimate person that it affects is the consumer, which was meant to be in place to actually help them. But you're right, I don't think it works at all.
A cynical agent, or you could argue a clever one, would coach their vendor to make sure that you could put a really low range on the agency agreement and you can justify it, let's face it, with the wrong comparable sales. Now, this is the same. Quote it low, watch it go. Quote it high, watch it die. Every agent knows that to quote a property, quote what it's worth, generally kills a campaign, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Well, look, it's again, like the byproduct is that, again, buyers typically, we're still hearing, are adding 10% onto a guide that they're hearing, seeing, whatever is being displayed for a property. So that hasn't changed. So again, the problem that an agent and a seller faces is, well, if you go and quote exactly what you want to achieve, a buyer's going to put 10% on, and then you're kind of stuck in this limbo land of people saying, oh, that's going to go for too much, and we're out. So I don't know how you address it. It's still a very grey area.
There's opportunity there.
Yeah, that's right.
As a buyer, you look at that and think, well, great, I'm not going to fight for that because I'll be the only person ready to pay what it's worth.
Yeah, well, that is good for you because, again, most buyers don't have the time to go and dissect the market and figure out, well, which is the property that's being quoted accurately versus ones that aren't. And then that comes into, does it even suit you and all those kind of things. And I guess that's where you come in.
Well, it's an interesting point though about buyers not having the time to dissect the market. It's true though, they really have to know their local market, the area in which they're buying in order to be able to work that out, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. But at the moment, when there's so little stock on the market across most of the area, you've got to broaden your search. So, we're meeting people that one week they're in the inner west, the next week they're in the east, they might be looking at the north. And again, they're kind of just looking for something from a floor plan and look perspective that feels right. They don't necessarily really understand the pricing.
So they've got no idea on value.
Yeah, no idea.
They're relying on agents that you just admitted are trying to quote as low as possible.
I didn't admit it. It's just a process.
But I've often argued that the fact is it's a game that we all play.
Yeah.
The agents play their role, or you play your role. The buyer that hasn't engaged expert advice is playing their game because they're not going to tell you what they're prepared to pay. And quite often, how often do you see at an auction somebody turns up and they don't even know what they're prepared to pay?
Yeah, that's right.
And they look at someone else and go, oh, it must be worth that because so-and-so's, they've bid that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, a perfect example of that is when people do literally turn up and register and bid on a property during the day, and they solely rely on competition to see where the interest might be sitting.
what it's worth.
Yeah, what it's worth. Yeah.
And so then, who's at fault then if it goes over reserve, and then you're claimed to have underquoted it the whole time?
I'm not going to point fingers here, but look, there's enough. For a good agent, there's enough conversations that go on behind the scenes as a buyer's building up to an auction to put them in the right place. And look, if it goes beyond the kind of conversations that you're having with buyers, so be it. That's just market forces. But a good agent should certainly give some ongoing guidance to a buyer, not just from when they see it, but right through the course of the campaign. So by the time they get to auction, they've got a good sense of where they should be positioned.
Look, I know that from my own experience, dealing with an agent who is professional,
Yeah.
they will be massaging the buyers up the whole time, and we can see that as well, which is why under those circumstances, a well-run campaign, we're trying to buy it prior.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that I think we all play a part in this, and I think from my point of view, you've answered my question.
Yeah.
What's changed? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, really, literally nothing. Yeah, just more paperwork and compliance from our side. Yeah. Well, that's it. I think I don't know if we've answered that. It's still a grey area, that's for sure. But thanks very much, Veronica, and we'll might have another topic for you next month. Thanks.